Hi, let me ask you something. If I told you that Zimbabwe owns a $16 billion empire, would you believe me? $16 billion with a B. That is not even a typo. That is not a rumor. That is an audited number from one of the world's most respected accounting firms. Zimbabwe owns $16 billion worth of businesses right now, today. And most Zimbabweans at home and in the diaspora have absolutely no idea that this exists.
Mutapa Investment Fund is the sovereign wealth fund of Zimbabwe.
This is the story of the Mutapa Investment Fund. Today, I'm gonna break it down for you. Simply, clearly, no jargon, no complicated economics, just the real story of what Zimbabwe, our very own country, has built, and why, if this actually works, could change everything for this country and for you. So stay with me, because this one is very, 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 very important. So what exactly is the Mutapa Investment Fund? Let me explain it in the most simple way possible. You know how some families have got family businesses, right? Let's say your uncle owns a farm, your aunt owns a shop, your cousin runs a transport company. And then at some point, the family says, guys, instead of everyone running their own thing separately, let us put everything under one roof, our family company, so that we have one management team and one strategy, so that everything grows together instead of each to his own. That is basically what Zimbabwe did. Zimbabwe owns a lot of businesses. The electricity company, the national railway, gold mines, lithium deposits, a bank, a cotton company, airline, telecoms companies, you name it. So for years, these businesses were all running separately, each one managed by a different government ministry. Each one was doing its own thing. And honestly, as most of you know, most of these businesses were a big mess. They were losing money, they were poorly managed, and most of them were running on government bailouts year after year after year. So in September 2023, President Mnangagwa made a decision. He said, we are going to take all of these businesses and we are going to be putting them under one professional fund, one management team. Then we run them like a proper investment company, not a government department. And then they named this the Mutapa Investment Fund. It was named after the ancient Mutapa Empire, the great Zimbabwean kingdom that once controlled the gold trade of all of Southern Africa. And if you look at it closely, you can see the name alone tells you about the ambition. You might be wondering, why did Zimbabwe need to do this in the first place? Why not just keep running these businesses the way they were always being run? Yes, that is actually a very, very good question, and the answer is very, very simple. The old way was not working. Let me give you some examples so that you can really feel what I mean. We have got ZESA, Zimbabwe's electricity company. It is owned by the government. Zimbabwe sits right next to Kariba Dam, one of the most powerful hydroelectric dams in Africa. And yet, ZESA could not keep the lights on. There was load shedding, there were blackouts for years. And how in the world does a country with one of Africa's biggest dams struggle to generate electricity? The answer is because the company was being run like a government department. It was not being run like a business. Now, the National Railways of Zimbabwe, the NRZ, it owns a rail network that connects Zimbabwe to South Africa, Zambia, Botswana, and Mozambique. That network should be making serious money moving cargo across Southern Africa. But instead, trains were breaking down even in the middle of journeys. The infrastructure was collapsing. The company was losing money every single year. And another one, Air Zimbabwe, which once flew to London, to Frankfurt, across Africa. It had become just a shadow of what it was. So you need to know that all these are very, very valuable assets. They are real assets which are worth real money. But the way they were being managed, that value was being wasted. So the Mutapa Investment Fund was created to fix exactly that. It was created to take these assets and then put them under professional management and make them actually work for Zimbabwe. Now, here is the part that should make every Zimbabwean sit up straight. Because Zimbabwe is not doing something that is new here. Other countries have done this before. You might be asking, and the results have been something else. Let me give you just maybe 3 examples. All right? Let me give you 3 examples. Number 1, we have got Norway. You know, Nyigayana, Haaland here. These guys discovered oil in the 60s. And instead of just spending all that money, all that oil money, they created a sovereign wealth fund. Basically, a giant savings and investment account for the whole country. Today, that fund is worth over $1 trillion. That is actually more than most countries on this planet has ever seen. And on paper, every single Norwegian citizen is a millionaire because of this. Then number 2, we've got Singapore. This one is a very, very small island with no natural resources, no oil, no minerals, not even farmland. These guys, they don't have. But they created something that is called Temasek Holdings, which is a government investment fund that owns stakes in companies which are across banking, technology, energy, and transport. And today, Temasek manages over $300 billion in assets. And Singapore is one of the wealthiest countries in the entire world as we speak right now. And another example, Botswana. When Botswana gained independence, it was one of the poorest countries in Africa. Then they discovered diamonds. Instead of wasting that money, they created something that they called the Pula Fund, a sovereign wealth fund built from diamond revenue. And today, Botswana is one of Africa's most stable and prosperous economies. So if you have noticed, you can see that there is a pattern that is clear. The countries that take their national assets seriously, that manage them professionally, that invest the returns wisely, they actually build generational wealth. So this is what Zimbabwe is actually trying to do with this Mutapa Investment Fund. What is actually inside the Mutapa Investment Fund? What does Zimbabwe own? Let me just break this down simply. The fund has got 4 main groups of businesses. We've got group number 1, energy. This is the biggest group and it is worth around $6.5 billion on its own. This includes ZESA, the electricity company, the Zimbabwe Power Company, Kariba Hydropower, the electricity transmission and distribution network. Basically, we are talking about everything that has got to do with power in Zimbabwe is in this group. And it is valued at around $6.5 billion. And then we have group number 2, which is infrastructure. This includes the NRZ, the National Railways of Zimbabwe, ZUPCO, the public transport company. We've got Tier 1, Net 1, the telecoms companies, all roads, all the rails, all the communications infrastructure, they fall into this group. Then we've got group number 3, minerals. This is where it gets very exciting for anyone who has been following Zimbabwe's mining story. The minerals group is anchored by Kuvimba Mining House, a mining company with operations in gold, platinum, lithium, and nickel. This is Zimbabwe's mineral wealth that is sitting inside this fund, being managed as a financial asset. Now, group number 4, we have finance and agriculture. This includes the POSB, People's Own Savings Bank, POSOE, AFC Holdings, which provides agricultural finance. We've got COTCO, the Cotton Company, and the Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. If you add all of that together, energy, infrastructure, minerals, finance, and agriculture, you get a total asset value of around $16 billion with a B. And this has been audited, and this is actually real. Now, the big question is this fund actually working? Because owning $16 billion in assets means nothing if the businesses are still losing money. And here is where the news is genuinely interesting. In 2025, the Mutapa Investment Fund reported an operating surplus of around $21.7 million. And now I know that, and I know what you're thinking. You are saying $21.7 million profit from a $16 billion fund sounds actually very, very small. And the truth is, you are right, because it is the early days. The fund is still fixing years and years of mismanagement across those businesses that we are talking about. You do not turn around a broken railway or a struggling power company overnight. We all know that. But here's what actually matters. The year before, that is in 2024, the surplus was only $3.6 million. So in around a year, the profit went from $3.6 million to around $21.7 million. That is a 6 times improvement in just one year. And that direction is right. The momentum is starting to build. And what the fund is planning to do in 2026 is where the story gets very, very, very interesting. For 2026, the Mutapa Investment Fund has announced a deal pipeline of over $1 billion. And let me break down what that means in very, very simple terms. We've got deal number 1, which is a $75 million expansion in gold mining. Because Zimbabwe produces a very significant amount of gold. This investment goes directly into expanding that production. More gold mined, more foreign currency, and that means more money flowing into the economy. And then deal number 2, $400 million commodity financing deal. This one is a very, very clever one, because basically what this means is that Zimbabwe is using its mineral resources as collateral to borrow large amounts of international capital. Think of it like using your house as security to get a business loan, except in this case, Zimbabwe is using its minerals like lithium, gold, platinum to unlock $400 million from international financial markets. Then we've got deal number 3, which is a $500 million in energy investment. That means new power capacity, renewable energy projects, grid rehabilitation. This is the investment that could finally start solving Zimbabwe's electricity problems. It's like, seriously. And then we've got deal number 4, $100 million for the railways. The National Railways of Zimbabwe, the NRZ, is getting about $100 million to start rebuilding the rail network. That is getting better trains, better infrastructure, better connections to Zimbabwe's neighbors and to the ports the country that actually depends on. That is 4 deals with over $1 billion in 1 year. That is not a government. That is just talking about plans. That is a fund that has started executing some deals. But the Mutapa Fund is not working alone. It is the engine of an even bigger plan. In 2026, Zimbabwe launched what is called the National Development Strategy number 2, NDS2 for short, a 5-year plan that is running from 2026 to 2030. And the target inside this plan is very, 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 very interesting, because right now, Zimbabwe's manufacturing sector generates around $7 billion per year. That means all factories, all processing plants, the production facilities in Zimbabwe, together, all put together, they produce around 7 billion worth of goods every single year. Now, the NDS2 target is to grow that amount to $12 billion by 2030, from $7 billion to $12 billion in just 5 years. How are they planning to do that? One of the means is by stopping the export of raw materials. Think about this way. Imagine you grow your tomatoes. You could sell those tomatoes akangodaro ari raw for just, for example, $1 per kg. Or you could process them into sauce, and then you bottle it and you brand it and you sell it for $10 per kg. It is the same domasi rambotengesa $1, but 10 times the value, because you added something that is called processing. That is exactly what Zimbabwe is now doing with its minerals. Because for decades, Zimbabwe was digging up lithium, platinum, gold, and chrome and shipping it out raw. Other countries were processing it and selling it, and then they bring it back, selling to the world at 10 times the price. And Zimbabwe was basically getting $1, whilst other countries were getting $10 from our minerals. So if you remember the 2026 mineral export ban, that ban said that arrangement yekutengesa minerals edu at $1 is over. Everything must be processed in Zimbabwe before it leaves. And the investment is already coming in to make that happen, because Chinese companies alone have committed up to $900 million to build lithium processing facilities inside of Zimbabwe, on Zimbabwean soil, processing plants that will turn raw lithium into battery-grade material, which is the exact ingredient that is needed for electric vehicles nowadays. What we are saying is Zimbabwe is not just mining lithium anymore. Zimbabwe is now manufacturing for the global electric vehicle industry. And that is a completely different conversation. I want to be honest with you guys, because on this channel we do not use emotions. We use our brains, and we have to be honest every time. The truth is, the Mutapa Investment Fund is not perfect. And I'll be doing you a disservice if I only told you the good news. Because there are real questions being asked about this fund, about transparency, about the management, about whether all the decisions that are being made are truly in the interest of ordinary Zimbabweans, or whether some of them are serving political interests. Independent analysts and international observers have raised serious questions about some of the decisions and some of the operations. These are all legitimate concerns, and they actually deserve proper answers. But here's my honest assessment, my own assessment. Building a sovereign wealth fund is hard. Every country that has successfully done it, we are talking about Norway, Singapore, Botswana, they went through a messy, controversial early stage. Mistakes were made, questions were asked, governance was debated. What matters is whether the country has the discipline to learn from these mistakes, to improve the governance, to make the fund genuinely work for the people over time. Zimbabwe has the assets. Zimbabwe has the plan. Zimbabwe has the investment that is already coming in. So whether the execution matches the ambition, that is the test that the next 5 years is going to be answering. Now, let me bring this home. What does this all mean for you? Whether you're watching from Zimbabwe or you're watching from the diaspora, it means three things. First, Zimbabwe has got a plan, a real, structured, financially engineered plan, not just a speech, not just a promise, a fund with $16 billion in assets, a professional management team, a $1 billion pipeline, and a 5-year manufacturing growth target. Now, the second one is the world is actually paying attention. The global critical minerals race means that every country building electric vehicles, solar panels, and clean energy systems needs Zimbabwe. It needs what Zimbabwe has: lithium, platinum, gold, chrome. Zimbabwe is now processing those minerals at home, which means Zimbabwe captures the value instead of just watching that value leaving. Now, number 3, the opportunity window is open right now. The Zimbabwean diaspora, people like you who is watching this video, have always been the country's most important investors, because you guys have sent $2.45 billion home in 2024 alone. As Zimbabwe's investment environment professionalizes, as the Mutapa Fund starts delivering real returns, the opportunity for diaspora investment will also grow with it. Zimbabwe is actually building something. The question is whether you're going to be part of it. Almost nobody outside Zimbabwe is talking about the Mutapa Investment Fund. No major newspaper has told this story the way it deserves to be told. No global YouTube channel has broken it down simply and honestly for the diaspora community or for anyone who cares the most about Zimbabwe's future. Now you know, you have actually heard about this. What you just need to do is to share this video with every Zimbabwean you know who cares about where this country is going. Send it in my groups, post it per Twitter, post it on your WhatsApp status, because the people who understand what is being built in Zimbabwe right now are the people who will be positioned to benefit from it. Subscribe to this channel. This is what we do here. Real stories, we do real research, we give you real Zimbabwe. I'm gonna be seeing you in the next one.